With summer kicking into high gear, it's time to start planning some road trips. And while lots of items are on the checklist, remember to add a trip to Goodyear.com to the itinerary. When it comes to choosing tires, let Goodyear.com help you choose what's best. Goodyear, more driven.
Han, how you been living, man?
Yeah, I was just telling Cass that, like, traveling sucks, man. I don't know how you guys do it.
I'll tell you why you have no right to complain, Han.
Okay. Tell me why.
I just did a 4 and 5 road. I mean, a 4. What was it? 5 games, 9 days, all different cities road trip.
But those are like charters, right?
Hell no.
What?
There's a W in front of our league. Dude, come on now. Like, we don't do charters. We are.
No, you guys are not riding. No, y'all aren't standing in the zones.
I know, girl. Let me tell you, it's a grind.
Here we go.
Welcome to the Hoop Collective. We're back. It's been way too long.
We're back and we're better.
Since the trio's been together. Well, we're actually technically not together, but on the pod. I'm Cassidy Hubbarth from NYC. Chiney Ogwumike of the WNBA leading Connecticut Suns.
Yes, ma'am.
In the cut. Also check out the Sun playing the Mystics tomorrow night on ESPN2, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Nice drop.
Just saying.
Yes, nice plug.
And then that sweet sound you're hearing all the way from LA is Ramona Shelburne, fresh off her finals and conference finals run. You home finally?
I know, right? It's like my cat missed me. It's like my husband barely recognized me. I had to cook dinner like 3 nights in a row just to like earn my keep, you know?
Right. Yeah, I hear you. And then Han, what's good, Han?
I thought when you were introducing those sweet tones, that was me, but I guess I'm. You also
have that sweet berry white tone to your voice.
Oh,
man, now he knows you're lying to him.
You actually do, though.
No, it's there's baritone there. There's some bass. Okay, we got a lot to talk about. I mean, I could all right, it's parade day for the Warriors. The Raptors reportedly hired Nick Nurse. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was quick with it. But you know what? I think I want to start with the petty and weird out in LA. Ramona, there's a lot going on, and
can you explain it? Because I missed it.
So, okay, the best way to put it is like just do a little Google search or a Twitter search or whatever, and just type in Lonzo Ball diss track. Okay, so him and Kyle Kuzma have been going back and forth for quite some time. Like pretty much that's been like the IG story of the year to follow, right? Kuzma and Lonzo making fun of each other, their fashion, they're close, they're buddies, right? And Kuzma went out and he was like, didn't he get an award as like player hater of the year? And he kind of went at Zoe a little bit, right? Well, these things tend to escalate, okay? These things tend to get bigger and more mean and a little bit more out of control. And in Lonzo Ball's retaliatory diss track that he threw at, I think he dropped it yesterday, Monday, right? Something like that. He wrote a diss track where he makes fun of Kuzma not knowing who his dad is. That is a line I think you don't cross. That is a line that maybe you got a little too far. And
because that's not funny.
No.
Like that's not if he was just trying to be funny and kind of calling him a wannabe Westbrook when it comes to his fashion, okay, that's lighthearted. But talking about
the only comparison you have to that, and it wasn't funny, was Pusha T coming at Drake.
Yeah,
and he was
that's
talking
right.
about a baby daddy too. So you know. But keep going, Momo.
So I have heard. So I heard that the next thing was that Kuzma threatened Lonzo on Instagram after his diss track.
Yes,
and that supposedly
which seemed
Kuzma
lighthearted.
is coming back. Yeah, seemed lighthearted. However, Kuzma, I'm told, or at least I hear, is coming out with another Lonzo Ball diss track in the next few days. And I don't know, if you're the Lakers and you're talking about trying to recruit Paul George and LeBron James, is this what you want your two young stars to be doing 2 weeks before free agency? I think not.
So, you mean, are you hearing that the Lakers are upset with this?
Yeah. I mean, like honestly, if you're the Lakers, first of all, Lonzo and Kuz proved himself in terms of work ethic and his rookie season 10 times over. I mean, this guy was incredible for them. He was a great find at the end of the first round, first team all rookie, but he still has some growth to do. He's still working on different aspects of his game, and he had a lot of work to do this summer. And Lonzo, as Magic Johnson has said, and Rob Pelinka has said, needs to get in the weight room, needs to spend all summer. I think Magic called it the most important summer of his life. Mm-hmm. So, like, the optics on this aren't great, right? It's okay to, sell your Big Baller shoes and even put your Big Baller rap song out. Like, that, I just thought it was kind of funny. I love Demo with the cameo. Get your merch. That was great, right? Like, it was kind of a good
track. let's not. Great.
Okay?
Is
this
stuff
stretch. Is okay, but when you start the back and forth between you and Kuz gets a little personal and a little much, and now it's like you're not just on an IG story; these are like actual diss tracks, like with real production values that you're spending time and energy on. It just doesn't look all that professional, and it certainly doesn't look all that serious for a young team that's trying to position itself as a team that wants to win right now.
Okay. Now, Ramona, sorry, can I jump in here with a quick question? Yeah. Also, what's interesting to me, what's the status of this JBA, the Junior Ballers Academy, or whatever it is?
I think they're getting going, right? Like, I just saw Youngisick had a story on this yesterday. It's sort of like Lonzo says if it was around when he was going to college, he would have played in it. I mean, it's yet another part of the LeVar Ball Big Baller Enterprises. Like, I listened to him on Colin Cowherd today, and he dropped a few nuggets on that one that made my head spin. Like, Cowherd asked LeVar, do you think Paul George is coming to LA? And he basically said, no, I think he's damaged goods. He's not the same player he was before the injury. I mean, these are all types of things that if you are the Lakers front office, you are cringing every single time this stuff comes out. Okay. But in the one breath, he's saying, Paul George is damaged goods. In the next breath, he's selling his Lithuanian water, right? Like, it's just, most of I think the media in LA is kind of not picking up on this as much as they used to hang on every word LeVar Ball said. But,
that's what I was about to say. Like, this LeVar is about, we care about what LeVar is saying again now?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's, they're not people don't take LeVar and what he says as seriously as like gospel from Lonzo or as something that's grabbing headlines like it was. But when Lonzo says it in a diss track, I don't know. You know how diss tracks go. You gotta be willing to dish it. And you gotta be willing to take it. So maybe they're fine. Maybe this is okay. But like, you've heard this, Cass. I've heard this. I know the Lakers are certainly, want to let their guys have fun. They don't mind on some level. But I think the latest stuff, I've definitely gotten some text messages back and forth in LA of people within and outside the organization kind of doing a double take.
It's an incredibly important summer for them. So, you could even say some of the Kobe Bryant comments lately, could have an impact on LeBron. Like what is going on in LA around all of Kobe's comments in regards to, the GOAT and LeBron James's legacy, and recently saying, that he did too much in the finals.
So I think people in LA, there's pretty much nothing Kobe Bryant could say to make people in LA not like him. Okay, like I don't know if you guys know, like he could run for mayor tomorrow and probably win. Like he could have been like a candidate for governor, he would probably win.
He can be up for an Oscar and then also and win an Oscar.
Oh, he actually did win that.
Right.
So I think people in LA, like in terms of like the talk on the street, I don't think anybody has anything about Kobe out here. Like so I've only been back in town since Saturday, okay, but like my phone has been receiving lots of text messages. Let's put it that way. But look, I understand what Kobe's saying. Okay. And this is in no way, shape or form an attack on LeBron James. Okay. Because that man is incredible. That man deserves to be in every conversation he's in right now for greatest of all time, etc. But we also have a tendency to like forget recent history, which is, I covered those Laker championship teams and they went to the finals in 2008. They won in 9 and 10. Okay, they had no business winning in 2009 and 10. They were not the best team. Like they were playing meaningful minutes with Sasha Vujacic. Come on now, they beat the Boston Celtics in a 7-game series with Ron Artest making key shots. Like I mean, we want to talk about like teams that didn't necessarily have a lot of firepower. Like Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol, 2 All-Stars, all-time greats, potential obviously Hall of Famers. Okay, LeBron James and Kevin Love. That's about the same level, right? Like maybe Kevin Love's a little below Pau, okay? But like the rest of the team, they didn't have a lot on those teams, and they still won. So like there's a part of me that's like, I understand where Kobe's coming from. He's just like, hey, just to sort of remind you, we won. When like we beat the Spurs all those years in a row, and the Spurs were a dynasty. Now, okay, let's look at their Hall of Famers. Tim Duncan's a Hall of Famer. Tony Parker, probably a Hall of Famer. Manu Ginobili, Hall of Famer. I mean, they're right up there, right, in terms of like Hall of Fame count, in terms of matching up side by side with the Warriors. So I understand where he's coming from. I don't necessarily agree that like LeBron's whole career needs to be judged based on championships. I think he goes down as one of the greatest players ever. But I see the point.
What was that?
I'm sorry. I don't want to insert myself into that argument.
Han, go. I mean, you already made the noise that made us all scared.
I can cut the noise out.
Either he was burping.
Repeat that noise. I don't know what that noise was.
2009, 2010, Pau Gasol is like heads and shoulders better than Kevin Love. Like Gasol was always a two-way player, and like Kevin Love is just an offensive threat.
Wait. You're going to say Gasol?
Don't you put disrespect
player?
No, on Kevin.
Didn't they used to call him Gasol?
They call him Gasol because he was that he couldn't stand up against like Shaq and like those dudes in the post. But like in terms of like being able to rotate and doing all of that stuff, like he could always hold his own on the defensive end. They had Lamar Odom, who was 6th Man of the Year candidate perennially on that squad. And like I know Bynum didn't play in the finals in one of those years, but they had like that huge 7-foot center throughout most of the season in the playoffs and those things. Like those Lakers teams were short on guards, but then like they didn't need them anyways because they had Kobe handling the ball the whole time. Like those teams were leaps and bounds.
I'm just
gonna
name you some of the key players on those Laker teams. Let's go with Shannon Brown. Okay, let's go with Trevor Ariza.
Monica is taking offense to that, by the way.
No offense. I did like Shannon Brown. Oh, just dropped the phone. Sorry. I did like Trevor Brown. He was a good player, but did he do anything outside of Los Angeles?
But I mean, I guess my question is there anyone on this Cavs roster that you would have taken before Pau Gasol and Lamar Odom?
No. Okay, Lamar, you have a good point with Lamar. Okay. However, this is just the first year without Kyrie Irving, so I would take Kyrie over Lamar. I mean, in terms of just straight up talent, like Lamar is to me like Andre Iguodala. Lamar is just a great facilitator. He was like the guy who gave them the most versatility. But like in terms of, can he take over a game himself? Can he run a team himself? He can take over a game when he's got really good players around him, but I don't know that he could run his own team like Kyrie can, right?
I think Kobe's just inserting himself because he's like, y'all are so disrespectful. Sorry, I'm outside of my parking lot and this guy's trying to drag race. Y'all are so disrespectful for not having my name in the mention of the GOAT conversation. So I think he's just trying to reinsert himself.
Oh, no. He inserted himself with that tweet. We talked about it.
That's a fact.
But you know what? Here's the thing. Miss Shoot Your Shot over there out in the cut. If you don't shoot your shot, you're not in the conversation. All of a sudden, 100%. You're gonna get lapped. You know, like they're gonna be talking about LeBron or MJ. And for like the last 20 years, it was Kobe or MJ. So he's like, wait, hold up a minute. Who's got the 5 rings? Right? Like,
wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished?
Okay? And like, I'm not saying I agree with him, but I see his point. Like, and I also like those Laker teams. Like, I know what you're saying, Han. Lamar is better than anyone you could put on the Cavs roster as a third option, right? But like, let's look also at the Cavs and say, you know, J.R. Smith was a lottery pick. Jeff Green was a lottery pick. Like all these guys, Tristan Thompson was a lottery pick. Like these were definitely talented players. They just didn't really bloom into anything in the NBA in terms, you know, on the level of Lamar. But Lamar also wasn't Lamar until he got to LA and played for Phil Jackson. Right. If you want to say what the big equalizer or the big advantage that Kobe always had over LeBron, I would say coaching. Okay, like I don't think. Look, Spo's a great coach. And I think Ty Lue's proven himself in the playoffs, but nobody's Phil Jackson. You know, like, we haven't seen what LeBron can do when he has a coach at that kind of level.
So, question, overall, with all this ancillary drama happening in Los Angeles, is the question that the Lakers are not mature enough to really pursue, like, the players, is there a maturity issue that could actually hurt their free agency? Or do you think LeBron is looking past that and would actually look in big picture like I want to be in Los Angeles for X, Y, and Z outside of the personnel?
I think it's a maturity thing. I think that's real, Chiney, don't you? I mean, to me, it's like these are the people that, you know, if you're LeBron, if you're Paul George, and you're thinking about going to a team of like 20 to 24-year-olds where like the core is that age, even if you think you love their game, even if you think that this is like, you know, like Kuz has got, you know, whatever, ice water in his veins, or no, I should not take the D'Angelo Russell line. Kuz has got Mamba blood or whatever you want to say. Brandon Ingram's is a perfect two-way kind of player. Zoe's going to set you up for great shots. Like that's a great core that they have. Josh Hart should be in that discussion too. It's a great core that they have, but like, it's hard when you're that young and then you act young too. And to me, like, the Instagram stories are one thing, but, like, I don't know. Like, it's getting to another level right now.
True.
So, Han, I think I got a solution for, you know, when teams give me whack-ass seats when I'm doing sideline reporting.
Well, let me ask this. Cassidy, who gives you the best seats besides the Warriors?
SeatGeek. It's designed to make your ticket buying experience easier than ever. SeatGeek saves you time and money by searching multiple ticket sites to compare prices and find amazing deals. That's for sure. And then you just totally stole my thunder. I wanted to tell you, I think I'm going to just like, you know, charge it to Mickey and just go to SeatGeek because every purchase is fully guaranteed. And you make SeatGeek your go-to app for finding the best deals on every type of ticket. So I'm actually making money for the company if you think about it.
I want our listeners to know that the Cassidy that they see on television and in most parts of this podcast, that's the sham Cassidy. And the real Cassidy is in these reads when you're just like out in the world speaking where her responses are always ad copy. Is what it is.
Do you also want to know what I want the listeners to know?
What would you like them to know?
That was a lot to know the listeners to know. That right now, you can get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app and enter promo code HOOP today. That's promo code HOOP, H-O-O-P, for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Like, boom. Like I said, I am making people money left and right. And getting the best seats in the house. No more tripping over myself, running through the crowd to get into a post-game interview. I know everybody's crying for me out there. Like, oh my God, it's so sad. You get to attend all these NBA games and talk to all the best players in the world.
I do want to say, I did see you running around in just crazy heels when you were doing sideline in LA. And like, that's a sport. People think that, that you're not an athlete, dude. No, you have to be an athlete if you're going to be running around in 4-inch heels.
Yeah. And you have to have the right balance.
Right.
Because, one day I'm going to be, a GIF. Points for correct pronunciation, by the way.
Okay. Mucho points. We don't accept another pronunciation.
That's not true. I want to say GIF, and I only said GIF just so I could tell the people that I understand that it is GIF, but it's GIF.
Oh my gosh.
It's GIF. In my mind, it's GIF. Just kind of like how, like, you know, the Sears Tower in Chicago is and forever will be the Sears Tower. It's not Willis Tower. Like,
wait, why is it called Willis Tower?
What you talking about, Willis, is not happening.
When did they change the name of the Sears Tower?
Like years ago.
Oh my gosh.
So exactly. My point exactly. It's effing GIF.
It's always been GIF though.
No. GIF is already something. That's delicious peanut butter. And you know what, hon? GIF this. Just download the SeatGeek app and enter promo code HOOP today. That's promo code HOOP, HOOP, for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Yeah.
Summer road trip season is about to begin, and among the many ideas of where to go, you know you want to catch your favorite baseball team away from home. While the Lucky Cap, well-worn t-shirt, and road snacks make the checklist, don't overlook the most important part of your trip, your tires. That's why you need to add a trip to Goodyear.com to the list. Goodyear strives to make tires that go further, longer, and bring you what's necessary to get the most out of your driving experience. So when it comes to choosing tires, choose right at Goodyear.com. Goodyear, more driven.
Well, look, there's a lot of drama, going on around the Lakers right now. But up north, the parade's going on. And
shout out to Jordan Bell, man.
What did Jordan Bell do?
Hopping off the bus because he ran out of
anything is possible.
Yeah.
Anything is possible.
And he saw some fan in the crowd have a bottle of Hennessy. So he went and took a swig. Here's Draymond had a nice little quote just right now. I don't know who he's on with on NBA TV. He's just said,
honestly, they want me. They want a political answer, right? Give it to him, raw. But the fact of the matter is, we just cut from a different cloth. There's a lot of guys in this league. They soft. We just come from a different cloth.
That's real.
That's all I really got for you.
That's real. That's as real as it gets.
The bus, man. I love
Drop the mic.
We just ain't cut the same. I told one of them dudes from Cavs after the game, he tried to shake my hand. I said, Tristan, we ain't cut the same. Lou, hold on. You got the...
Ooh. Yo, you can never ever believe. Well, even though Draymond stands by what he says, when people are on the parade, that's when people are speaking loose.
Yeah.
So,
Rose, remember when he went off? He was like, "They suck." Yup. We champs. Yup. And then I think actually Klay Thompson just said, "You know what? I'm pretty hungry. I want a sandwich." By the way, he is high key the funniest dude. And then while Draymond was making these comments, of course he's wearing what has become a tradition for him now, a troll shirt of LeBron. He is wearing the Mood Arthur hand with 3 rings on it. But Momo, we talked yesterday when we were trying to plan this pod about, some interesting Warrior stuff coming out. There was a report today that, if Draymond's offered an extension that he would turn it down. What is the latest?
Clay is the same way. I mean, I think, look, for both of those guys, it doesn't make financial sense for them to do an extension this year, right? Yeah. Draymond can just do a 3-year. I forget what the number is, but it's $70 million or something. And why would you do a 3-year deal if you're Draymond, right? Like 3-year extension. Like Right. He especially because he can make all NBA teams and all defensive teams win a Defensive Player of the Year award. Like he's done all that, so he's in line to get a max contract. So of course he's going to wait, that makes sense. However, Clay's the same way. He can wait and get a lot more, either if he makes an All NBA team or if he just hits free agency and does the 5-year deal in free agency. I mean, it's like $87 million difference. Like, I mean, I understand sacrificing for your team, but like $87 million is a lot of money. Right. So,
right. I think a lot of people are quick to be like, oh, Clay loves it out there. He'll take less money. He'll take, I've been one of them saying, oh, he has that China money. He has the China shoe deal. He's fine. But $87 million,
it's a pretty big difference.
$87 million was like a max contract not that long ago.
Right.
Really was.
1/10 of $1 billion.
Right.
Oof.
Okay,
almost,
Stanford. Almost. She's like, almost. 87 minus 13. Okay. So,
they said there'd be no math, y'all. That's why I got into journalism.
Here's the thing. Like, I think that both guys do want to stay. I really think Clay wants to stay. But he'll be up first, right? He gets to be free agent a year earlier. And the question is, are they able to, is Joe Lacob ready to spend that kind of money, right? And
you spoke to him.
Yes, I asked him after the game, after the game 4. I was like, wait, how many games? Yeah, it was 4 games.
Yeah, a sweep.
It was a sweep.
Jordan Bell, by the way, was out in the streets sweeping. So FYI. Oh, and check out Momo's article on ESPN.com. Just letting you know that.
Thank you. Look at you with the plugs today.
What else am I doing?
Plugging the WNBA.
I'm not doing anything else. I'm just a walking plug. All right.
So he says, all good things cost money. We want to sign both of them to extensions. We understand if they want to become free agents, but we want to sign both of them to extensions. And then he says something that I thought was very interesting. We obviously have to spend, I'm not going to quote directly because it's off the top of my head, but the quote is essentially, we got to spend our time figuring out how to get better this summer and next summer, and how we can continue to improve the team. And it could go a lot of different ways. And I was like, oh, okay then. Like that wasn't like, he kind of put it on Draymond and Clay to say, well, when they hit free agency, we can't control that anymore. We don't know what's going to happen. And it could go a lot of different ways. That, to me, strikes fear in the heart of all Warriors fans and makes the entire rest of the league giddy, okay? So not 5 minutes after Chris Haynes posted the story saying Draymond's going to turn down his extension, which is expected, and yet, interesting that he's able to write that on parade day, okay?
Yeah.
CJ McCollum retweets it saying, get your money, man. Right? Like
exactly.
Right? Like the whole rest of the league, is watching this very closely to say, generally speaking, you don't let players of this caliber hit free agency. You can't take that chance. They're too good. You can't lose them for nothing. And so this makes next year interesting. This makes the year after that interesting in a way that I don't know that we thought we were going to have, considering how close these guys were. And are.
Yep. And then also Kevin Durant being offered whatever he wants.
Yep. And I think for KD, he actually could lessen the luxury tax burden. If he does the 4-year deal this summer, he saves them a lot of money. But let's remember, KD took a lot less last summer already. He already took less. And if you notice Chris Haynes' story today, he also points out that Draymond has already taken $12 million less than what his max was, so that they had a max spot to go after KD. In other words, a lot of stories are coming out with people reminding, Warriors faithful, hey, we've already taken a little haircut.
Right.
We've already done that.
And Zach Lowe, not to, jump to any conclusions, but Zach Lowe wrote a piece today talking to Kevin Durant, where Durant was like, championships aren't everything for me. It's my own personal growth.
Ooh, I see that collection plate coming down the aisle.
What do you think, Chiney? What do you think? Is all this just a coincidence?
I think they're just playing us. I honestly think they're playing us. Once you start winning rings, you don't want to stop winning rings, especially when the standards you're being compared to are the Bulls with 5 or 6 or something like that. So I don't see these guys busting the unit up. I do think they will continue to make sacrifices for each other, coming from a player, sacrifices financially, because there are, like you mentioned, Cassidy, alternate ways to get your money. But I do think it has to come in terms. Like, you know, guys have to be rewarded outside of the norm. So the same guy can't keep getting his paycheck cut. So it'll be interesting, but I don't see ending something good until something bad happens when they don't win, and then it's reactionary. But we'll see. Make things interesting.
Are you scuba diving right now?
I am actually. I am skydiving right now. I'm propelling down from clouds and doing this podcast while. I'm just outside my apartment complex. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds like you're scuba diving. But you know what? Like, the fact that you are doing this pod right after practice, you got a big game tomorrow night. The WNBA leading Connecticut Sun.
There he goes.
Just saying, it's been a minute since we had your presence on the pod. So
I missed y'all. I had to reunite with my girls.
Here's the thing too with LeBron, okay? I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him because I really am just like so impressed by how amazing he was in the playoffs and like he deserves everything he gets. But it's like, don't show up with the cast afterwards.
Right. Chiney, we didn't get to talk about that.
I know.
Well, how do you feel? Okay, how do you feel about that?
I'm split. Like, that man just put the whole team on his back.
I know.
For the entire postseason. And wanted to let you guys know that, hey, I was actually doing more than that. And, it made me look back at his game 2 and game 3 and be like, wow, like if he was playing through pain and still performing, meanwhile, he can only get a limited effort from his teammates, that says something. But at the same time, why were you hurt? Was it through the game, pushing through? Like, did you get fouled, hurt your hand, and you're playing through the pain? No, you did this to yourself out of frustration from game 1. Like, that sort of dampened it for me. But regardless, I have respect for the man who can still play through pain. And, I mean, he just wants y'all to know that things ain't easy for him. Even though that's the problem. That's why people don't like LeBron.
I don't need to know.
Because he has moments like that.
Like, I already know. That's the thing. He didn't need to say it. Like, the story can leak. That's what
it would have came out. It would have come out.
It's like your boy in Houston, PJ Tucker. Yep. He didn't say anything until the next day. And then he was like, oh, yeah, I had 3 root canals or something the day before, or 3 broken teeth or something, right? And before game 7, I didn't even tell my teammates.
Exactly.
Like, that to me, it was like, oh, dude, that's tough. Like, but like the thing is, even if the story came out that he had a broken hand, the fact that he had the cast on, I was like, oh, I didn't need that. That almost like keeping it for me. Like, like it was like he was so amazing. He would have got credit
3
anyway.
Root canals before game 7. Like, what?
Shout out to that dentist, though. Shout out to that dentist. They're like, you know what? We're not going to let this hold us back now. We're going to get you 3 of them so you can play.
It's fitting that LeBron had the cast, though, because the finals was just ripe with memes starting from game 1. And LeBron shows up on the podium with that cast, and I saw a tweet joke that goes by. It's like, oh, it looks like LeBron finally got the supporting cast he needed.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
It's not that funny. It's just a little funny. Okay, what'd you do, Sinead? I can hear that siren in the background.
That's not me, actually.
That's NYC.
Why you think the fans coming for me, Ramona?
You are in those Connecticut streets driving around. We don't know what you're doing.
I know your Hummer. I know your car.
Yeah, no, she gave up the Hummer. I was so sad about it.
Bad incident. I almost slid into a house in the snow.
No! I didn't know that was the reason why you retired the Hummer.
Let me tell you, this Texas girl did not know how to drive in the snow.
Yeah.
Even in a Hummer.
I would not know how to drive in the snow either.
It's a fact. But you know what's funny, guys? Like, we're less than a week from the NBA season being over, and we still have so much to talk about. Like, it can't help itself at this point. Between the Lakers, between LeBron, it's cast. I mean, it's just ridiculous at this point.
Well, then we got the draft, of course, and I'm sure there's going to be trades and all of that jazz. I mean, and then we going into Summer League, 2 weeks, 82 games in 2 weeks broadcasted.
Oh,
Check
my
it out
God.
on ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, and NBA TV.
Hold on. While we're doing this plug, I'm checking my schedule. So,
yes.
I play the Las Vegas Aces on the 7th of July.
Oh, that's Saturday.
So, is that during?
Yeah,
that's during
first
the
weekend.
Summer League?
Yes.
So it's at 7:30 p.m. So we turning up that night, though.
Yes. Yes, Han, you gonna be out
So
there?
y'all should come. I don't know if you can. It's gonna be too many.
I'm gonna keep track on the game after Chiney against the Aces to see what her stat line is like.
Guess what? We don't have a game for another 5 days or so.
Oh, all right.
We travel back to Connecticut after, so we good. I'm gonna go see Boys to Men, boy.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, they're performing in Vegas right now?
They will be then.
Oh. See, I'm so mad because J-Lo's not performing anymore in Vegas.
Oh, that's over? I thought, oh, really?
She does like random spurts of dates, and it's not during Summer League. So,
That would be fun.
I'm sad about that. I do need to ask this of you, Rockets fan. Are you in favor of gutting your roster for LeBron James?
Yes. So I was like trying to calculate. I need to hit up our guy, Bobby Marks, because I'm trying to do the game where is it possible for us to maintain having James, obviously Chris, getting LeBron and keeping Eric Gordon and possibly Ariza, and then get rid of everybody else? Because, like, we can keep those people.
I don't think so. I think Ariza's going to go.
I know like Ryan Anderson is a big one for us.
Tucker.
Well, it is possible if you're able to find if you're able to trade Ryan Anderson, then you got a shot. You don't have to trade
But that's not happening.
Trevor's
a
free agent.
Do you know how many
20 or so million?
Yeah.
You're right, but PJ Tucker
contract.
Yeah, he's important too. You're right.
Why I say PJ Tucker is important is because, look, the Rockets did something this year. They were able to like really find this chemistry and work well together. And it was, you hate to say like glue guys, but like when you have two big personalities like Harden and CP, I just felt like PJ was the nice little, I don't know, not mediator, but he was a good friend to James, and it kind of kept them in a nice little space with each other because there was somebody
100%.
else.
There is huge value. So in the NBA, a lot of times, quote unquote, superstars can't do too much when they're playing, get themselves ejected, be too demonstrative. Sorry, Hot Wheels behind me. But,
kind of sound like a drag queen over there.
What is happening right now? Are you hanging out with Meek Mill?
I'm at the Indy 500. You right? I'm in them Philly seats. No, but there's a value because, it's interesting. Guys that have to, every superstar can't do the things that role players can do in the sense of challenge other players when someone gets pushed or shoved. PJ Tucker was always the first guy when James or Chris got into a scuffle, was the first one to challenge the other team, or the first one to walk in the arena with James, obviously. There's value in that and maintaining the balance, because you guys remember seeing that video when Chris Paul and James were having a disagreement, and James slapped his fist and was like, "No, I ain't got time for this." If without a player in between there to rationalize both sides, that could have been a problem. That could have been a problem. But at the same time, I feel like you got to shoot for the stars right now. So we got to keep, if we can get honestly, CP, LeBron, and James, that's the biggest chance. I think that's the best chance that LeBron has in free agency to win a championship. It's going with Houston. A lot of people say Philly. I don't know. Philly, this is your specialty, Ramona, but I see Ben Simmons and LeBron. It's not too easy to play the same position.
I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Like, if Harden is your future guy, that you're building around, you can't knock him down to number 3 priority on that team. Because LeBron automatically goes number 1, and then
I think the mindset
CP goes number 2 because he's best friends with LeBron. So Harden is third wheel.
No, I don't think it's third wheel. You can accept third wheel if you get MVP at the NBA Awards this June. Like, after you finally get that monkey off your back, you know what I'm saying? And you finally get the title. Like,
not in an 82-game season.
I think being MVP, this was a big cloud over him, since last year, not getting it to Russ. Now, if he wins MVP, he feels like, okay, now his next thing is championship, not necessarily, being that man on that team, in my opinion.
I just don't see the Houston thing happening. I'm sorry. I can see happening. I could see Houston getting somebody else because people would want to go play there. But I just think at this stage in his life, with a family, with kids about to go into high school, like, I know CP did that, moved his family there and all that to Houston. But, like, that's a big ask for LeBron. He has no legacy there. He has no history there. And, like, for him to just, like, uproot his family to, like, a completely new city at this stage, like, I don't know. That's just a hard one for me to wrap my head around.
Which,
so
by the way,
LA?
No, I mean, when I look at LA and legacy and, like, attachment, I mean, some people are saying if he can bring another title to, the winningest franchise, and, that will obviously heighten his legacy. But to me, I'm like, you're about to join Kobe's Magic, Kareem's team. Like, to me, it cheapens it. But I mean, I can see why other people.
I know what you mean. I see it. I don't know that it's necessarily just LA. I just think, what did LeBron say when the only question he really gave an expansive answer to about his future was, like, in terms of how he's making his decision? All he talked about was his family. Yes. And then you saw Dwayne Wade the other day. I mean, his son. I mean, like, that's what he's talking about. That's what he wants you to think and what he wants you to hear. And
yeah, he's 33. His kid is. I mean, LeBron Jr.'s older.
Yeah, did you guys see that quote he
Gary
gave on Uninterrupted, saying that a dream of his would be able to take the court with his son?
In NBA with his son.
Yeah. 6 years from now? Like, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he could also play that long. I mean, that's a lot. That's a big ask, okay, for him to play 6 more years. But, if he wants to break every record, he's going to have to play that long.
Now, question, since we're on this retirement, what do we think about Kevin Durant walking his comments back about retiring at 35?
I don't really. Kevin Durant's one of those guys who talks. Yes. And he's so open and he says so many things that, like, 3 days later contradict themselves. Mm-hmm. And it just means that he's, I thought Lee Jenkins had a good story today. I thought Rachel did this great interview with him before Game 4. Like, he's kind of a guy who's still trying to find himself and search for himself. And he sort of talks his way through it. Like, and sometimes he does it publicly. Right. So I don't really put much stock in anything he says one way or another in terms of big pronouncements, because I just think he's figuring it out still.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think and he says that in so many different ways that, like, for a long time he was worried about and thinking about the red carpets and what he was wearing and, like, his image. And I think he's still thinking about that, but he's at least acknowledging in the presence of, like, the first step is, knowing that you may have a problem, that you're consumed with, what other people think of you. And I mean, obviously we saw that with his burner accounts. Yeah. I think he'll probably find a little more peace this year. I mean, last year, winning that title, okay, that was winning a title, but there was still maybe something like a cloud over his head about, it being so still fresh that he left OKC. This championship, like, winning Finals MVP again, and he clearly proved that he was the second best player in the world.
Speaking of that, do we agree, Ramona?
You're talking to the girl who voted for Steph Curry as Finals MVP. So I don't know.
You were one of the 4. I didn't know that. You were one of the 4 who voted for Steph Curry. I was one of the 4.
I got to be honest. I was surprised it was. I was
7-4.
Everyone was like Doris does the walk-off interview, right? So you know how that goes. Cassidy TV gets first choice, radio gets second choice. So she got to choose. She chose Steph. right? Like she chose to interview Steph.
Well,
right after the game. Steph
had the better game 4, but
right.
I mean, look, KD had more points, assists, and rebounds than Steph. And you could argue that his game 3 performance was the defining performance of the series. And then also it's like as bad as KD's game 1 performance was, he still had 26 points. I mean, I know. Steph's game 3 was really bad.
All of the reasons why people voted for KD, like when you look at the stats head to head, KD just like gets him by a nose. But for me, it was storyline. I think Steph. No, not storyline. I think Steph set the tone in games 1 and 2, and I think he set the tone in game 4. So to me, it was like 3 out of the 4 games, Steph was the guy. And I didn't rank it by like who had the worst game in between, right? Like KD in game 1 or Steph in game 3. Like I was like, look, to me, Steph set the tone in 3 of the 4 games. And also having covered the Warriors all year long and like really understanding that team, like they were so like it was so obvious to me by the end of that year that Steph is the guy that really holds that team together, like in terms of getting them to play with, a certain way. They play with that joy.
Absolutely.
He's a leader.
When he was out, they were like above 500. Yeah?
That's right. They lost 10 to 17 games at the end of the regular season, and they weren't playing the right way. And so Steph's the guy. Like he's the
I know, but I guess the argument goes back to what is MVP? What is who is the most valuable player? And that goes back to Chiney, an argument that, we had on Full Court Press that Lisa, Rebecca Lobo, and Chiney all said, LeBron James should win MVP of this finals because he is the most valuable player on that court. And I guess what you could say is that Kevin Durant was clearly the best player on the Warriors. That doesn't mean that, Steph Curry doesn't mean more to them. I don't know. I think that coupled with it was clear. I think
it was a recency vote. I think it was honestly like Steph was better in games 1 and 2. KD was better in games 3. I also think
game 1 hurt Steph because more people were thinking about LeBron's performance and stuff.
Yes, you're probably right. I wrote a column after those saying, Steph is on his way to winning his first Finals MVP, but it probably should be LeBron because he had been so good. And that's where that hand injury comes into play, where it's like, you look back on 2, 3, and 4, and you go, man, if LeBron could shoot, because that was the thing that LeBron had been doing throughout these playoffs that really set him apart, where he was hitting those threes, he was hitting those outside shots, and like when you get a chance, when LeBron can hit his threes and he can drive, you can't stop him.
As we saw against the Raptors, when he was just doing those fadeaways, we're like, what the where? How Sway? Yeah. Yes, he faded, Dwayne Casey all the way away out of there, and so now they got Nick Nurse.
All the way to Detroit, man.
Yes. So we'll see what he could do with that group. But I mean, we don't need to get into all that.
At least Coach Casey's got a job with the Detroit. Yes. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
he's on the up and up. Nick Nurse.
Most likely, he's going to. Accept his Coach of the Year award at the NBA Awards for a team he no longer coaches for, and he's like, what do they super him? Do they say Detroit Pistons head coach when he accepts his award, or do they do former Raptors?
Awkward.
I don't know that Case is going to win the media vote. I think he won the coach's vote. I don't know that he'll win the media one. I don't know. I don't know.
I think if we're going to talk about, recency, like where was your mind at April 18th?
Oh, I voted for Quinn. I voted for Quinn Snyder.
But then who was number 2? Where'd you have McMillan. Quinn Casey? Oh, I did. You.
I had Quinn Snyder number 1. I had Nate McMillan number 2, and Brad Stevens 3.
Oh, I had Casey, Brad Stevens, and Quinn. So I don't know.
It's interesting how different these votes would be if there were votes after the regular season or if there were votes after the postseason. Every ballot would be different.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you had it to do over again, would you vote for Harden or LeBron?
LeBron. I had voters' remorse at picking Harden, but I felt at that time, it was like I can't Harden. It's Harden. It has to be Harden.
What about Rookie of the Year now?
But
No, it's a good point. It's a good point.
To me, if we were to do it at the end of the season, Tatum wins Rookie of the Year.
There you go. That man was playing like.
I mean, he had the most impact on the longest playoff run.
So if I had it to do over again, I probably would still vote the same as I did for Rookie of the Year because Simmons. I do feel, I went Simmons and Donovan too. And Tatum
I went Simmons, me too.
But I feel less sure about that than I did when I made the vote. Like I would have voted, like, I think if you're reconsidering, I don't know that Tatum goes to 1. I think Donovan goes to 1. And just in terms of, like, oh my goodness, he had an amazing playoffs, and so did Joe.
But so did Tatum. I mean, he led the Celtics in scoring, and they went to the conference finals and took the Cavs to 7 games, and he was a defining player on that team.
He dunked on his idol like crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough one when you look back on it, right? Because the playoffs have a way, especially when series extend past the 4 games, because that means teams adjust to players. They play people different, right? Like, you see adjustments being made. So they have a way of really exposing your weaknesses. And that's what we kept, when I covered that first round of the Sixers series, I kept waiting for it. I'm like, when's Miami going to expose the fact that Simmons doesn't shoot? How are they going to do it? They were never able to do it. But the very next round, the Celtics were.
Right.
Just the type of defense they played on him. They sort of exposed that. And
Brad Stevens.
Yeah.
I'm sad. I'm sad that the season's over. I just, but free agency is going to keep us busy.
It was so good until the finals.
I know.
Right?
I know, but
At least it was quick.
That game
nice.
That game one was, like, I won't say it was worth the sweep, but I gotta watch that game 1 again, because that was one of the best basketball games. Certainly of the playoffs.
Drama.
Yeah,
it had every form of drama,
except for overtime. And I've said this on another pod, like, and I'm not trying to be all Kobe Bryant here. Like, LeBron needs to do more, but you can't check out when you still have 5 minutes to go.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can. I give that man a pass. 51.
No, I know. Look, he did everything he could do, but except rally his team to continue playing in overtime.
Let me tell you why you check out. Okay. I remember the first play of overtime, I believe he tried to score and did not make it. And then immediately the Warriors went on a quick run. This is the tactic. Whoever makes the first run in overtime tends to always win, because the time just doesn't give you anything else. So if you're a player and you realize this team has made a big run within the first 4 or 5 possessions, I would say 99% of the time it's a wrap. So that's why we all watched that. We all watched that. The break in between regulation and overtime. They didn't say one thing to each other. You didn't have any issue with that.
I would also mention that overtime was the first point in that game, I believe, where Kerr went to that alternate death lineup. So, like, he didn't play that all game, and then he played it to 5 minutes, and that's where they just killed the Cavs. So
the only person that could have mentally made it through that awkward time between the regular time and overtime would be Jesus Christ. That's the only individual that has the big enough heart to mentally get themselves ready in 2 minutes after that.
When we were watching it, I was with Richard Jefferson and Caron Butler and Alvin Gentry. Like, we called it. We called it after regulation that it's over. Like, we knew, like, how do you mentally get over that mistake? But at the same time, there was still time.
True. Hey, ladies, this has been super fun, but I just had to ignore a call from a very important general manager that I should probably call back.
Okay, we're done. And that's a wrap on Hoop Collective.